thing I've learned. If you don't hold their feet to the fire, everybody gets burned.
Hold on. Before you start waving around that freedom of speech thing, when you're in a crowded movie theater and you scream fire, you better be able to smell smoke. If you come on this radio show and you start saying incandescent things like that, you better have more behind you, pal, than just your thumb. I've been listening to talk radio for years, and one thing I just can't stand is when the host has to, push his way onto people, beat the callers into his way of thinking, extending his ego, or when the callers call in and say something so outrageous and the host lets it go unchallenged. The sign you're on the road to truth is the lack of contradiction. You want to find truth, you just don't simply believe somebody because of their authority or their degree, or you listen to what they say, you test it against reality, and you hold their feet to the fire.
All right, we are back and we are live. Feet to the fire. I am your host, James Alpha Yanchik, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. I just noticed I uploaded the title. Okay, yeah. Dyslexia has its funness. Pushback, I spelled wrong, but Americans push back. I tell you, I've been really encouraged by the people taking to the streets and saying, no, we're stopping this. Stop this overreach. It's ridiculous. It's against science. It's the whole deal. It's all like, well, you want to kill people? You're selfish? No. You guys are trying to take over the government, put in all this stuff, using this as an excuse. You're liars. You're cheaters. And for those people who used to, went along with it, thinking like, okay, well, we got to be careful and this and that. All this is coming to light now. So I have some comments to make. First, I did a healing meditation, which has already been uploaded for a coworker of mine, Mark Albright. He's going in for some serious heart stuff. Just had some semi-good news after I did the meditation from him that they were talking about transplant, but now they're going to come in trying to work with angiogram, do an angiogram, try to go in there and clean out the arteries from both ends rather than break them open and do it, or transplant. So I hope that that's going to work out. Ask for people to pray for him. The meditations can be downloaded, listen to it. I mean, if you want to help through that, but just did that. And now I'm doing the show here. I didn't do video. I mean, I guess I could. There's stuff I could show on the screen, but if you go to my Facebook page, james.a.jancic, you can see all the links anyway. I know a lot of people don't like Facebook. I don't either, but it is easy to use. I will put up the links as I can afterwards. But there's some video coming up for people are doing it with their phones. I tell you, those cell phones allow people to be tracked. That's bad, but it also gives the chance for people to take live HD video and then upload it. Boom, it's there, and people can download it and share it, and then now it's like forever. You can't get rid of it. And there's people protesting in San Diego. And San Diego still has some type of a lockdown, and yet they're out there protesting. And All these people out there waving flags and singing, and when's the last time you heard that? Spontaneously out there to protest the lockdown. It's very encouraging to see this. You could just hear it and picture it. It's good stuff. No, it's not a baseball game. It's people getting together saying no. We don't want this. There's all kinds of videos popping up around doing this. One of the people who follow the show uploaded. I'm trying to go to his video. There it is. David, I'm going to mess with his last name. Wiersma? Forgive the name. I can't do that. He went out and did some filming and pictures of. This is where I got today's picture for the opening. They went out and protest Pritzker and others. For Pritzker is one of the top guys here. The Michigan mayor or governor and Illinois, plus some of the Pennsylvania and others. Maine is ridiculous because there's like I don't know how many. There's under like 100 deaths. I think it was like something like 29 or I don't know some small number of deaths, and the whole thing shut down. So they're out there protesting, and it's great. It's great to see that kind of spirit back. I mean, when Trump won the election, he won because people got upset at where things were going, and he got them all fired up, and they went out and voted. People haven't voted in, probably 2-3 elections, got out and voted, and they got all riled up. And Trump was on his way to a second win, and then this whole COVID thing started. And it's not even a COVID; it's the reaction to the COVID. It's the items that have been chosen, the reactions been chosen to do, the protocols and whatnot, which have crumpled stuff. And people got sucker punched. There's going to be 2 million people dead. Yeah, sucker punched. They kind of went along with it. Now we're seeing the data. It was never even close to that. It wouldn't have been anywhere close to that. And as they complain about states who are opening up, turns out the numbers are going down. And when you do the research on it, look at the herd immunity, when, as a normal virus comes through, people get immune to it. Yes, people die from it, which is bad. People get it and get immune, and then a certain amount of immunity of it doesn't allow the virus to find good ground to reproduce, and it dies out. And even though there's people who are vulnerable and who haven't had it, because the number of people who have had it reach a certain amount, the odds of finding fresh ground and reproducing diminish, and therefore the virus diminishes. I mean, this is not even brilliance. This is just old school stuff. But it got kind of lost in we're going to have this. And they're still trying to use the same scare tactics. There's another wave coming, and it's not working because the data's not showing up. There's people who are fighting back. Luckily, people are coming up who are informed in virology and doctors and so forth, who are coming up going, wait a minute, so it's not like just some guy saying it somewhere. These would be accredited people to fight back, if you will. So they're coming back and saying these things, and it's all being exposed. I gotta love California City. They decided to call themselves a sanctuary city for business in California, who called themselves a sanctuary state for illegal aliens. So now if California cracks down on them, it's going to be like, hey, you're saying, no, we're not going to listen to federal law, and we're going to call a sanctuary state. Well, somebody underneath you can't do that? Well, of course not, because it's all about power. It's about control and power. It's not about health. It's not about helping any particular groups. All the malarkey that they're putting out there about the various ethnicities, gay and trans and all that, all it is used to get votes. And once they do the mail-in voting and they get their votes, once they're in, then all the people they support, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, that's the way it's going. But I'm seeing these, here's a news story. 100,000 businesses has permanently collapsed under the pandemic. Well, I responded to that, no, it's not the pandemic. It's the response to the pandemic. That's what did it. And if you could just save one life, then it's worth it. 100,000 businesses went out of, no, that's all garbage. It's all garbage. It's all lies, propaganda. Speaking of spying on people, I'm not even going to get into the whole unmasking thing with Obama and all that's for another day. But the reason, if you look at this whole point, all right, let me back up. When John Kennedy was assassinated, they blamed Oswald and so forth. But as people over the years have looked at it, there were multiple people who benefited by John Kennedy's death: FBI, CIA, mob, perhaps Castro. There's a lot of people probably were involved in it. Multiple gun shooters. They probably had one gun shooter from every faction, so they all they all got their blood on their hands, so nobody can tell on the other, whatever. But when you saw the trade centers go down, there are many things that were benefited by that. Everything from Silverstein having the multi-billion-dollar double indemnity insurance against terrorism to the stuff that happened in Iraq and Afghanistan and whatnot. You could see multiple benefits from that single act. Well, here's the same case. As we're all now more mature, having lived through the Kennedy / 9/11, etc., when you look at this and say, well, who would benefit by this? That is the people who are going along with this or involved in it to some degree. As I look at it, the virus itself, I don't think it was a planned release. It doesn't really matter, but what my point is here is a situation, with the great Rahm Emanuel mentions, don't let a catastrophe go to waste. Here's a situation, the virus is out. In the beginning, they said, no, it's nothing to it. Don't worry about it. Go out and play, go out and do your things. No big deal. And then if somebody woke up, well, wait a minute, we could use this. Then they do a 180 and how it's terrible. Now, Trump already looking into it. They were criticizing his Corona task force, calling it too white and male, I guess it was. But they were making fun of it. Well, all of a sudden they're saying he didn't do enough. Well, all those same people are on video, on record, saying there's no big deal here. So it's just amazing the boldness that they can come out in public, say, like, no, I never said that, while they have video running of them saying it. So what is happening here by this? And I think you can look at the governors in the blue states are the ones who are really letting it out blatantly in public. It's oppression. They want to kill the economy, kill that sector of the economy that is more likely to vote for Trump. Would be more of like the independent entrepreneur. Give the people money to stay home who are on the less, what would be the word? More lax area of it. They would, of course, brings up the debt and do all that stuff. Then you say Trump did it. We got to get rid of him. It's terrible. Again, we're doing the same routine that we did with the other stuff. Meanwhile, the economy crashes, and they start bringing in all these tyrannical tactics. Well, you can't go out. You can't do things. You can't go out with your kids in a park. You can't do all this because you're going to kill people. That's absolutely ridiculous. And if you look at the virus histories and stuff, I mean, going in a park is probably the least possible place you're going to get it from somebody. And, there's pictures of police arresting people with a mask, and the police don't have a mask. And they're arresting the person who doesn't have a mask. And I just saw a video. I just posted it up while the music was going almost, just before it. Catherine Austin Fitz put it out on Twitter showing a guy was out walking his kids without a mask, and he was surrounded by the police. He was taken into custody, and his kids were taken from him. At least that's what the video stopped. It wasn't the finished product, but this is all ridiculous. And what it actually has done is it has alerted people who normally wouldn't pay attention, who aren't necessarily the. Just looked hello to the people in the little chat room here on the Spreaker. It alerted people who wouldn't normally necessarily pay attention to it. I mean, I'm getting tweets and calls from my cousins who are very apolitical, and they're all upset because of all the stuff that's got their attention. So now, they're all quite aware Pritzker is doing this stuff, and they would like to see him stop doing this stuff. So people who, it's actually jostling people from acquiescence or ignorance into the foray with this. They're out there going, no, you're not going to do this. Here's my cousin telling me I ain't wearing a mask. No way. I'm like, yeah, you tell them. So they're pushing back, and there's something in the American DNA. I mean, even if you move here and become a citizen, you do it the right way. You understand why, while the stuff in America is good about the Constitution and all that, you come here, you're an American now. Even those people, I'm not talking about people who are born here biologically having the DNA. It's something about being in America where you have this automatic pushback to tyranny. It's like, no, wait a minute, what are you doing? No, you just can't say that. You just can't do that. And it's interesting to see a lot of people from Europe making comments. I shouldn't say Europe, the world, making comments. Those Americans, those cowboys, they think they can do anything they want. Well, this is why you have borders, and this is why you have a Constitution who is not giving the rights, but acknowledging the pre-existing rights, and that government's job is to protect those rights. That's like the point of the government. And this is why you have this here, so that people in other parts of the country could do whatever they'd like. But it's not going to happen here. And America's, the global warming, you're affecting America. No, if you look at the data, China and India are the hugest polluters on the planet. The United States is even close. In fact, the United States has some of the cleanest air from industrialized countries. If you want to look into gross natural product, it's got like some of the cleanest air. It wasn't always like that. There was pollution that's been cleaned up, and pollution is bad, and that's good, right? But it's interesting to see the people pushing back from outside the country. And I'm not saying particularly Canada, because Canada is here. But Europe and Asia and so on. Hey, what do you think you guys are doing? Hey, go over there, do what you're going to do over there, and that's fine. But you're not coming here and doing this stuff. And the people who are in government, who are basically apologists siding with China, they're not even doing it ideologically, I don't think. Ideologically, I guess they're doing it because of power. If you want to look at ideological perspectives as I want power, well, yeah, okay, this is ideological. It's I want a power. I want to be the elite. I want to be able to get the haircut you can't. I want to have the all the privileges you can, because that makes me feel better. And I have to impress you in order for me to get my actual best feelings. When you have a psychopath or sociopath, they don't just want power, they have to assert it. They have to apply the power. Not having the power, it's pushing people around. And so they're always going to make more laws, for business, regulations. You got to jump through hoops. You got to make people wait. I've seen some people pushing back from, I forgot what it was called. My sister mentioned she saw a video on this where it was a black lady talking about how to push back on whites by taking longer in line and doing stuff like this, which is like amazing to me. Like, you want to take longer in line just so I take longer in line? That's ridiculous. But this is the kind of the mindset is if you want to assert power. And to assert power means to get me to not do what I want to do, or do it in accordance to how you think I should do it. That is the power. And what's happening is it's starting at the top, we'll say the governors and for higher, and it's trickling down. So now people on the street could go up to you and shame you for not having a mask, or tell you about you're not social distancing. They have power now. There's somebody. Hey, I could tell you what to do. I feel pretty good about that. But then it goes away, so now you got to tell someone what to do again. You got to press again. It's an insatiable thirst, unquenchable thirst. It's insatiable that you need more power, and you have to assert more and more and more and more and more. Just think about the story about Alexander the Great, sitting down and crying because he can't conquest anybody. It's assertion of power. And now they're trying to unleash it all over. They started with the governor who won't let people open because he said so. And then they tried to use terms like, well, if they're going to break the medical safety, and all this, we're going to have to make sure. No, it's not about medical safety. It's not about anything except power and control. And when somebody opens up their business and you tell them not to, it's about you losing control. Now you got to double down. And then you had some of the state police in Illinois are saying they're not going to arrest people for going out with their kids. That's not what they took their oath for. And then so our Governor Pritzker says, well, I'll bring in the National Guard then. It's all about power. Do what I say, and I want to do it. And to me, it's like, the divine hand in this is the delusion that they have. They have somehow crossed a line that they feel, I'm here. All I have to do is just do a couple of things and it's done. And it isn't the case. It's not done. So there's like a delusion there where they're striking out and being more obvious and and let's let you know what it'd be like. You want to know what it's like having and it's not even the Democrats in as much as the people who are in it. The people who are running it now, they're all sociopathic, power-hungry types. It's communism American style. Back in 1917, you had the Bolsheviks and you had the Lenin-Stalin communism. That's the Russian style. And then you had Mao back in the late 50s, 60s, and the Cultural Revolution. That was communism, Chinese style, if you will. Well, now there's coming up with an American version of it, and this is what's happening. And these people want to put the power through. And I don't know what gave them the green light, because Trump has been winning time after time after time. Well, something about this COVID, whether it be like their last gasp and so the so-called, the faces they're getting of being smug and on top isn't accurate. They're really nervous inside. I don't know. More than likely, they're all delusional. Like they think this is now we're going to get it done. We're going to do it. But the people are fighting back, and I'm really happy to hear that. In fact, there was a meeting downtown. I didn't know. I would have went. It was on Saturday. It was a good day. I could have went down there. I could have took the bike down with my flag. But I didn't know about it. I have to keep my eyes open, I guess. I guess you got to be spontaneous about it, because if you get too much ahead of time, then you can have naysayers and all that. So this is what it's about. But people are fighting back, and I'm so happy to hear this, because you saw the Antifa protests and all that and all this stuff, and it's like now it's like you're getting this. Was the sleeping giant was the saying back in World War II, I think it was, or whatever. You're getting the American people to stand up and go, hey, wait a minute, I'm not taking this anymore. I don't care. People are opening their business, people are going out, going, hey. And a lot of the police are backing down, which is good, because police are people too. It's not the police versus us, where it's all us. So the goal here, I mentioned this months ago, the goal is to get the police and the military and the Trump supporters are all on the same page behind the president. Now, that's pretty good power. Whoever the military supports wins. It doesn't matter anything else if you go throughout history. And so the goal here is to get us separated. So this is the deal. We're going to make these laws into place. We're going to twist the arms of the police, because they have retirement, they got families, they have they've been for so many years, and so we're going to twist them against the people, and a lot of them just aren't doing it because it's so ridiculous. Now, you could say that person could easily put a mask on and not be a big deal. And imagine there's police who do that. Say, look, just put the mask on, it'll be done. But it's not going to be done, especially with Pritzner. It's like the goalpost moves more and more and more. He already came out and said doesn't want nothing until next summer. And then he got jumped on for that, so now he's doing it month by month. Well, we'll see what happens next month. No, I think we need another month. And so now it's the end of May for this time, and he'll go, well, no, I think we got to extend it. Meanwhile, Wisconsin State Supreme Court overturned it, which it should be done all over the place. It is clearly beyond any reasonable interpretation of Bill of Rights, especially when you're closing churches. You're opening up, Home Depot and closing churches. It's ridiculous. Now that the churches should never have closed. I understand. We all got kind of sucker punched by this. Kind of okay, well, and so people kind of okay, fine. We got a sucker punch by it. It's fine. It's done now. It's done. And we need to have people go back to work. And Mnuchin said something interesting: is that this particular downturn in employment and whatnot was artificially laid over the economy rather than as a result of the economy. So what's good is that what he thinks is different. I mean, we'll have to see because it's unprecedented. Is that when it crashed in the 1920s, it took a long time to recover because it was an internal crash. Well, history shows it was pushed down by the banks, but still, it was the internal mechanism that crashed. Now this is external, where you just simply close the doors of these places. Now it's going to be brutal, but the possibility of having a V recovery is there because there's nothing holding it back. Of course, there will be people who are going to have to, when they come back to work, it's going to take a little while, but it'll be a lot better than this. So, hold on 1 second here. I tell you, it's also been tough having allergies going out there because I keep feeling like if I sneeze, it's going to be like, oh no, get him, take him away, because of this. So getting back, the plan is, I said there's multiple plans, right? So it's the government oppressing people. They're going to try and get mail-in voting so then they can have voter fraud. They can get rid of it. They can take stuff over. That's part of it. The having your jollies, being able to push people around is another thing. And now looking forward, we're going to need to watch this because this is going to be here forever. Even though all the data shows this is nothing special in terms of virus. It should be people should have immunity, and people are having immunity, and all this stuff. But we got to watch this, so we're all going to have to be vaccinated and have numbers and chips or ID cards for this is going on in Europe and all over. So, well, we got to make sure you're okay to go, and so this is the goal here is to get people. Everybody gets a number on their person somehow, and it's hooked into a database. And I said before, you get a little chip, a little grain of sand chip, has a number in it. That's it. That's all it's got to do is be able to be read. No programming. You don't have to have it be programming. All it has to be is it lays dormant until activated by a signal. It gives off the number. It goes back to sleep. It could last for many years. Doesn't even have to broadcast fire. It's only got to go an inch or less off the skin. And the way microwave works is that you can have a very powerful antenna on one side, very weak antenna on the inside, and it still will pick it up. So you can even pick it up far away. I don't know how far, but, So you get the vaccine, which is also going to do damage to the individuals because it's been shown, and Robert F. Kennedy is the man on this. I've on my BitChute account, I've nabbed a couple of videos in case they went away. Not trying to take them from him. I mean, go to his video and see it. If it's still there, great, go there. But I had to get, because it was fantastic video, and he's just full of data on it. And I will never have a vaccine. I've had the vaccines when I was a kid, a couple of them. polio. I asked my mom about it because I wanted to find out, and I think there was 3. But they weren't the MMR, which is the big thing that started all the terrible stuff with kids getting sick. It was individual vaccines are safer and more well-suited on it, right? But back then I had the 3, I think there were 3. I had the measles, I had the mumps, I had chickenpox. So my immune system had to go through and fight them, which made my immune system stronger. So it's coming out where people who don't have the 70 vaccines or whatever ridiculous they have now for the kids have a better immune system. So the vaccine is going to be damaging in terms of immune system. The vaccines have shown that they're going to have, they got pollutions, they got mercury and other kind of stuff in it that's junk. There's even talk about having fetus tissue and all kinds of stuff in there, which is a objection. And then you have the aspects of when you do get a vaccine that does trigger the immune system to create antibodies against the disease, one of the problems, and again, check with Kennedy on this, he's got it all laid out in that video. One of the problems is that when the person comes into contact with the actual virus in the wild, the immune response could be damaging to the person. So when you're trying to program the immune system to respond artificially, it could respond by killing the person trying to fight the disease. So that's the problem, is that these things just have a lot of problems with them. So they're going to try. I mean, Trump has said Trump likes the idea of a vaccine, right? He thinks it's going to solve. It's a silver bullet. It's going to solve things. But he said over and over again, it's not going to be mandated. People don't have to have it. So what I'm looking for is not for a federal mandate, because the DOJ has already come out and said there's a problem with that. Right. So even if I don't expect it to be from the feds, but look what's going on where we are now, and look at your states. Various states are with the government. Our governor is just choking the Illinois by the throat. And so what's going to stop him from going, no, you have to? Or, since now we make it so that private business can take away our rights because they're private business and we don't have to work there. So what happens when your workplace says, no, you have to have this vaccine, you don't work here? So yeah, it's my freedom not to have it. But that's right there. Now I'm out of a job. So there's a lot of oppression looking down the pike. Restricted travels by not having to be able to prove you've had the vaccine or you're immune, job loss, potential job loss, fighting with illegalities within the state or the municipality. This is all still yet to come. Even though it's not mandated you have to take it at the top, all those battles are going to left to be fought. They're not going to, again, when you deal with psychopaths, you deal with power. For a governor to sit back and say, you all have to get vaccinated, that act of people who don't want to getting vaccinated is like feeding, it's feeding the energy. That's like, yeah, I'm making people do what they don't want to. I'm making people do things that are going to actually harm them. I'm making people do things that's going to have us be a better handle on controlling their lives. Yes, I am the man, or the woman, as it may be. So this is the stuff we're looking for. So what I'd like to see is, rather than have it happen and fight back, is I'd like to see preemptive stuff happening, because the cost to individuals going through and being the modern day founding fathers, whatever, standing up and causing this, the cost to them are going to be high. People could lose their businesses, their licenses, could go to jail for some time, lose some money in fines. And even if it's overturned, there's still going to be resistance along the way. Someone who's a control freak will not give any of it away. You have to 100% take it away. Kirchner won't get up one day and go, well, I'm going to stop doing this. He has to be thrown out of office or curtailed directly and conclusively for him to stop. He won't stop. A psychopath control, a sociopath control freak will not stop. Whether it be a narcissist, any of the control people are going to be, I want control. Now, if I could tell you that you have to wipe your feet to come in the house, that's something. Oh, I got some kind of control. You got to think of it in terms like that. That any type of control is some kind of control energy. And they're not going to give any control up. They're never going to go, well, okay, all right, you won. No, never. It's going to be 100% fight all the time for every single inch of stopping their control. I mean, once you understand that, realize it, accept it, it's less frustrating because you know it's coming. And so these people just will not give up. I would love to see these people thrown out of office. Now, I don't know. I don't have any. All the states are different, so I don't know what it takes to throw out a governor. I mean, I know it's there somewhere. They have to go through and do it, and I don't know what the deal is. And one of the the mask. D, you're talking about the My Mask? Okay, I got getting stuff coming in here. I got to think about, I got it here somewhere. It should be in my photos, right? I know a lot of people don't like to go Facebook. I don't like it either, but I just simply, I got to do this. It's easier if I just do it that way. Then, and I wonder, how do I do that? If I could just put the picture. No, I can't do it. I'll put a link to it if I can figure out how to do it. I can't do it while I'm doing this here anyway. But no, see, I shouldn't have done that because I lost my point. I mean, the point is that they are going to drag kicking and screaming away from the power. You have to understand that. And I've been writing my state representative in Illinois. Illinois has a state Senate and a state representative. My state representative is Mark Batnick. And I've been writing him saying, he's got overreach. You got to do something about it, right? And I just got an email from him, another state representative. I guess he is either the leader or the minority leader. I forgot, General Assembly. This is Representative Wheeler. And Mark Batnick, my representative, is behind this measure. And what Wheeler is going to do on Pritzker is they want to have a vote on taking away the criminalization of these rules. You can't just, he just can't make these things and say it's criminal. Now, I don't know the makeup of the parties because in this whole thing, the Democrats have been lockstep, and there's no pun intended there on this. To Messenger is copy and paste the Messenger. All right, send me a message, D, in Messenger, and I will do that. So I don't know what the makeup is. I don't know if it's Democrat by numbers. I mean, we got Chicago is heavy Democrat, so I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know how the state Senate is made. The state Senate, like if it's like the Senate of the United States, it's not necessarily made by a population. I don't know how it is, but they're going to try and do it. Now, if it's Democratic enough, and the Democrats stay lockstep, but when you get down closer to the ground, if you will, the Democrats are less lockstep because they have to get reelected. I mean, they're actually buying food on the money they get for being representatives, as opposed to Pritzker, who's a billionaire. Pelosi and all these people are all multimillionaires. So when you get down to the ground, a lot of people will listen to their constituents because that's their job. So, but they're going to be talking about the emergency rules and doing it. And what happened in Wisconsin is they went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. Boom, the end of the lockdown in Wisconsin. One day, gone. There's no gradual opening. Boom, it's open. And this is what I'd love to see here. Why people haven't... oh, here we go. I'm sorry about that. I think this is the way to do it. Just give me 1 second. I think I heard somewhere that they tried to fast track it to the state Supreme Court. No, they tried to fast track it in Illinois to the Supreme Court of the United States. And they said it has to go, it's got to go up through the courts. So it's going to have to go to the state court, perhaps an appellate court, then to the Supreme Court. Now, the Illinois Attorney General could go right to the Supreme Court of the Illinois, right? Well, there's not a chance of him doing that, being a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. Not going to happen. So it's going to have to worm its way up for a while. And see, that works for Pritzker anyway, because the longer it waits, the more lifeblood is choked out of this state, which is his goal. I mean, he can be not elected next time unless they get in enough voter fraud and voting mail-ins or whatever. Excuse me. So he's looking at not being reelected, but he could do a lot of damage on the way out. Now, he's a billionaire. So he comes in here, he destroys the economy, does his thing. He goes to the New World Order people. He goes to the globalists and go like, yeah, I did. Look what I did. Now let me in the club. Let me in the world club. You got to remember, it's all about psychopaths, about power. It doesn't not matter. What happened now? Apparently, I was just looking at somebody made a comment and it got killed. Well, anyway. All right, all right, I'm losing it here. I got to regroup. So I would recommend, I mean, if you're a business owner, you're going out opening your business, my hat is off to you. You are the modern day people in Revolutionary Army who stood up there against the redcoats, because you can go to jail, you can lose your license. I mean, that's huge stuff. Now, what's great happened in Texas Supreme Court when that person, that one lady who stood up and he went to judge ordered her to jail. Supreme Court of Texas ordered her immediately released, and the governor wrote executive order taking away any, jail time or whatnot for violating his executive orders retroactively to like April 20th or whatever. We don't have that in Illinois. This is total enemy territory. So it's gonna take the representatives like Mark Batnick, God bless him, and Wheeler and these guys to stand up against them and work our way. Meanwhile, somebody's got to be going to working their way up to the state Supreme Court. Now, I don't know how the Supreme Court is. I mean, again, I used to know and kind of forgot. I don't know if they're all voted in. I don't know if it's political, if it was appointed, if it's appointed by a political based on politics. I don't know. It goes to the Supreme Court. I do not see how this can stand, especially with the Constitution in the background. already getting warnings from the DOJ that it's not going to sit well. And now they're already the U.S. district attorneys have been ordered to keep their eye open for violations of Bill of Rights during these lockdowns. So I think they're going to lose it in the long run, but damage in the short run is significant. But I'm very happy to see people here standing up. I mean, Illinois is very Democratic. I should say Chicago is. If you take Chicago, the Cook County is where Chicago is. And then there's what they call the collar counties. There's a collar of counties that go around Cook County. And those are pretty much Democratic, though they're starting to go down. And then once you get out past that, it turns into the rest of the state's Republican, which is why we've had Republican governors, even though you've had a lot of Democrats, very, very dense Democrats in the city. I mean, nobody is a Republican in the city. It's all Democrat. So, but you're going to have people who are Democrats going like, wait a minute, now this is over the line. I don't like Trump, blah, 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 but this is ridiculous. You're killing my hairstylist, or you're killing my, I like the music store is closed, or, trading cards is closed, and you're going to start picking on people individually who are going to be like, wait a minute. So, and God bless those business people who are standing out there. We went and had Chinese food. There's a place in town here, very good food. I went to buy them. There's one guy working there, one guy taking the orders and making them. And he was very, very happy on the phone that somebody ordered food. I'm like, what? I'm hoping it's got nothing to do with the virus, because it's like, if there's a person out there who's not going to go to a Chinese restaurant because they're afraid of getting the virus, they are more dumber than Iraq. Iraq is like a scientist compared to their dumbness or ignorance that they would think that. And of course, this is what they're trying to say with the Trump blaming. Gosh, I can't believe the stupidity out there. I mean, I'm not like some giant. I could go through my past and show you a million things I did wrong. Right? I'm not sitting here as some kind of like example of mental giant here. And so, that's why when I see something like that, I go like, for crying out loud, how could it be possible that these people could do this stuff? To think this way, it's like, wow. And it's because when I went to school, they still taught you. She's probably dead now, though she was still kind of young when I was in high school. I want to try and find her as a teacher in my, I think it was junior year in high school. It was English. That's the term they just had for English. I don't know, literature, whatever. She had a little mini course on propaganda, and we had to go cut out magazine and newspaper clippings, ads that would fit into these categories of propaganda that she did. And I'm telling you, if I go back to my entire 4 years in high school, and I was in the honor, having college level classes in high school in the fourth year, of all the things I took in high school, one of the things that did me the most well in my life was that class. One, quarter, I don't know if it was even a quarter of 1 year of high school did me more to live in this world than the rest of the stuff. Now, of course, obviously math helps. I don't know the last time I did any trigonomic proofs, geometric or trigonometry proofs, if I had to do one now, I'd be like, what was that again? And I guess if I went into a field of math, I would know. And a lot of the biology and chemistry I had, general chemistry up through, even I didn't finish college, but up into college, helps me now dealing, like, for example, with global warming or dealing with the viruses. Having the knowledge of science back when they really taught science and not a political science, so to speak, obviously that's valuable as well. But that propaganda, I think, is the most important class that I've had in school. Now, if I could find her before she dies, I would like to tell her that class, and that's back when they taught you stuff. Now, I don't know what her political background was. It was totally irrelevant because she was teaching people how to find propaganda. And if that's the one thing that we need in this world now is propaganda and critical thinking in true scientific method, not the model. See, this is something I said years ago. Einstein brought in a break in traditional science because Einstein got into, and I'm not even saying it might have been done by someone else, a few years before him, but in that time frame, you got into science that was theoretical. I mean, when Newtonian physics was cause and effect, well, why does this happen? How does this happen? And they figure it out. Einsteinian type stuff is coming up with theories of science that you can't even prove or see or even begin to comment on. And over time, things advance to allow us to go back to those. I say us like I'm doing that, but it allows humanity to go back into those theoretical sciencings and prove them. But what we have now is you have politics in science. For example, they talk about Big Bang Theory now has become fact. It's not fact, it's a theory. It's a possibility of how it happened, but there's anomalies, and if there's one anomaly, then it's not fact. So this stuff now has become consensus. Well, most scientists agree. Well, that's crap. Most scientists agree means nothing. What is provable, demonstratable. In fact, if you listen to my opening theme, which I recorded before I did my first show back in probably in December of 2002, because I started in January 2003. You don't listen to people because they're experts. You listen to what they say. You check it against reality, and you hold their feet to the fire. Little did I know when I said all that, what it would mean now. Where you're talking about these scientists, yes, we have models that say this. Models, model. Right? Models are made two things. One, you're trying to take how the universe works and make it into math equations that you can fill data in, which are also somewhat opinionated, and you can make a model for anything, and they have. And we're seeing it now. We saw it with COVID. 2 million dead in America. Oh, I'm sorry. Now, it's a lot. 100,000, it's a lot of people, but not 2 million. And the books have been cooked. The numbers are higher. Back when people died from AIDS, when they said, well, why did you die? Well, he died from complications of AIDS. Well, technically, he died from like the flu or a cold. So technically, he died from a cold by today's standards. But back then, they realized it was the precondition. It was the whole condition set up by AIDS. Now, when you got somebody who's 90 years old, heart disease, lung disease, whatever, and they die from COVID. No. They died from these conditions, and COVID was there just to kick it over the edge. And likewise, somebody who's younger doesn't die from it. But all that doesn't matter because politically we need numbers. We need numbers, and now they need to come up with numbers with their models. If Trump would have did it earlier, we could have saved 30,000 lives. Oh, my God. I can't believe this stuff. It's like amazing to me. And it's like a dog barking. These people can keep doing it. And when I see bullshit, when I see it, it bothers me. And these people swim in it. They love it. They live in it. It's like second nature to them. And and this is why they have an advantage. It's like they could spin it. Excuse me. Oh, they can spin it the way they want to be. Now, I'm coughing because I'm talking loud, and I don't talk a lot nobody, I don't want Knock on the door. Hey, I heard you coughing in there. Gotta come with us. So anyway, it's great to see people pushing back, and it's good. And they're doing it smart. They're not being stupid. They're not blowing up stuff. They're not doing any of this. And it makes me nervous because I'm thinking, like, when is the false flag stuff going to come? You know, because these people, oh, you're paranoid. No, these people, they're psychopaths. They're looking at victory. They have no scruples whatsoever. They could care less about who can get hurt or what happens. It doesn't matter. Destroy the U.S. Constitution? Well, if I can get in, you know, if I get elected, fine. Nothing matters but their power. And so it's well, they would never do anything and kill a lot of people. They've already killed a lot of people by how they've reacted to this. All right, so I don't want to end on a negative note. I mean, the positive thing is people are doing something about it, and I'm encouraged. Yeah, I coughed, and Anita in the chat room says, that's okay. It won't spread through the internet. Not yet, anyway. It's funny when I'm out, because I had these allergies in the morning. I get up, my sinus is all full, you know. I go to work, and I'm like, I can't sneeze. I can't sneeze, so people are like, you know. But I am encouraged, too, when I go into the truck stops. This is in Illinois. Of course, Wisconsin, they don't need it anymore, and Iowa as well. But in Illinois, I go into a truck stop in Illinois. No one ever says nothing to me to put a mask on. They have masks, and I'm sure they have to because they work here because they can get shut down, but no one has ever did it. The only time you get pushback is I go in a grocery store or I go into the Home Depot, that kind of thing, or Walmart. Those are only, you know, they're real close. So when I go in there, they tell you to wear a mask. And so then that's when I put on my mask that I made. And I've gotten several comments, and they've all been good. And so I was encouraged. People, let me read that, man. Oh, the excellent mask, excellent. I agree with it totally. You know, so I'm like, it's good, it's good. But you know, I could see the grocery store I go to. I could see the manager is like, he's really nervous about like the store closing or something. And so, you know, I would wear the mask more for, you know, because they're nice people. The guys who work there are really nice and stuff. So I also noticed that the people have been kind of cheating on the mask, and no one's been saying anything where you let the nose come down, because that would be good, because then I could breathe nice through my nose, exhale through my mouth, and it's a lot healthier for me. And no one seemed to go too far in that. There was I did post it on my page. Of course, I have to be able to find it now. I guess I should put more time into setting up on this and having these things already, but here we go. I didn't know I was going to talk about it. Governor Janet Mills this is a sign on a store. Governor Janet Mills has ordered that all customers must wear a mask when they enter the store. If you have a medical condition that prevents you from wearing a mask, you do not need to wear one. If you are not wearing one, we will assume this is the case. Due to HIPAA and the Fourth Amendment, we will not ask you about your health conditions. Thank you for your patronage. Yeah, that person's after my own heart. I don't know how that would work, you know. But I will say, other than what I said, I will say that people have not been pushing it. Of course, Walmart is globalist. Home Depot, supposedly the owner has been a Trump fan, but they're going right along with it. And so I put the mask on. So I think I'm going to wind down here. Again, kind of remind you about Mark, a friend of mine having surgery, a coworker. Pretty nice guy. He's one of these guys that wants to help everybody. I mean, once you're in his family, I mean, he's got ex-in-laws and stepchildren and all that. And I could tell you right now, they're all they're all like, once you're in the family with him, you're in the family. He's one of those type of guys. And so he does a lot for a lot of people, and now he needs to have some serious heart work done. And I pray this works out for him. I'm encouraged that they're going to, there's a plan other than, because at the last time I talked with him, they were talking about heart transplant. That's like basically a heart transplant. Any kind of transplant saves you from dying. And not only is your quality of life not great, but your length of life isn't all that long either. Of course, there's going to be someone out there who's had one for a long time, which is good. But so I'm happy that there's an option. So if you can, take a moment to pray for Mark Albright and his heart work done tomorrow. They're doing it tomorrow. That'll tell them a lot if they can do something, get something wrong there. It gives them more time to work on it. I do have that meditation up on both my channels, both YouTube and on Spreaker. The show will be on YouTube probably, I don't know, within an hour it'll be up there. And I think that's going to be it. Let me look in the chat room here. Yeah, masks are super unhealthy, like you're breathing carbon dioxide. And it's true. When I had the mask on the first time, I immediately felt a lightheadedness. But then I started thinking, like, well, gee, do I have a lung problem? That normally most people don't have this problem because normally they don't. I mean, any depriving of oxygen on the smallest level gets a reaction out of me. But then I was, everybody I talked to said it was bad, and everybody has to take a mask break and so on. The first one I put on was one of those N95 masks. Turned out I had some from my woodworking tools, and I put that thing on. I was like, holy cow! If I had to breathe all day in this thing. So anyway, God bless everybody out there who's making a stand on this. And just hang in there, keep it going, and do something. Mention it, T-shirts, I don't know, whatever. I mean, I took my mask and I wrote on it with a marker, okay? So we're not talking about, high tech here, but anything and everything helps. So, all right, I think I'll do that. We're going to go start the closing thing. The Ancient One, my old friend. God bless everybody. We'll see you again next time.
My old friend, the one who walked before, the one who walk again, in each and one of old, with wisdom for the new, revive our inner sight, retell your timeless truths. Oh, it's your one.
Feet to Fire is a production of IPS Media Works on the OnSync Radio network of stations.